Episode 3 opens with Hee-ju and Lee-en appearing before the media, who bombard them with questions. Lee-en is holding Hee-ju's hand, a gesture that provides the media with all the answers they need. Hee-ju recalls a past scene where Lee-en told her, "Fine, you can become my wife, but the entire country will turn against you. Be prepared for that. By the way, I want to see what you're capable of before you actually become my wife." Hee-ju laughs and replies, "Do you really think I can't do anything? First, we have to show the world that we are dating." The next scene shows his team spreading the news far and wide regarding what is going on between Hee-ju and Lee-en. Everyone is left stunned upon seeing this news. We return to the present, where Lee-en escorts Hee-ju into the palace. However, they are met by a court lady who informs Lee-en that Irene wishes to see him. Lee-en replies, "I'll talk to her tomorrow." The court lady persists, saying, "She hasn't even eaten. She really wants to speak with you." Lee-en turns to Hee-ju and says, "You get some rest, I'll be right back." Hee-ju asks, "Do I have to stay here all alone?" Lee-en pauses to look at her. He gently strokes her hair and asks, "Are you scared?" But she shakes her head in denial. Later, Hee-ju finds herself alone in a room. She watches Lee-en leave and remarks to herself, "He really is an excellent actor." Later, we see Lee-en with Irene. Irene confronts him, saying, "Everything that happened at the hotel, you were with Hee-ju. Aren't you going to apologize for that transgression?" Lee-en asks, "Apologize for what? I'm simply making all of this a reality." Hearing this, she flies into a rage. Lee-en adds, "Don't worry. I'm not going to make the pregnancy rumors a reality." Lee-en then steps outside, where he runs into Choi. Choi asks him, "What are you doing here? You should be with Hee-ju. She must be all alone." Later, we see Hee-ju with King Lee-en, feeding him instant noodles. Just then, Lee-en arrives. He scolds Hee-ju and asks the king, "Why are you eating instant noodles?" The king replies, "I couldn't fall asleep." Hee-ju interjects, explaining, "He said he couldn't eat his regular meal, so I thought that perhaps eating this might help him fall asleep." Lee-en looks at Hee-ju, but she remains silent. At Lee-en's instruction, a court lady escorts the king away. Hee-ju turns to Lee-en and says, "It was just instant noodles. You should have let him eat it, he was hungry." Lee-en retorts, "It could cause him health issues, or what if his mother finds out that you're doing things like this? Do you even realize the potential consequences?" Hee-ju replies, "My in-laws are bullying me." After a moment of reflection, she asks, "If things really do come to that, what will you do? Whose side will you take? Mine, or our room's?" At first, he says nothing. Hee-ju presses him for an answer. Finally, he declares, "I will take your side." He then moves closer to her and says, "To convince the public that we truly love one another, I will have to take certain measures." In the next scene, he speaks with a court lady. The court lady objects, saying, "That is not possible. Hee-ju cannot sleep with you." Lee-en insists, "The main doors have already been locked for the night. She has no choice but to stay here, and she will sleep with me." Hee-ju also speaks up, adding, "I need to change out of this outfit." Later that night, we see the two of them lying in the same bed. Lee-en tells her, "You sleep on the sofa." Hee-ju refuses, replying, "No, you sleep on the sofa." Both of them were sharing a single blanket. Lee-en tries to pull the blanket toward himself. Hee-ju does the exact same thing, and the two of them end up tugging back and forth over the blanket. The next morning, we see that Lee-en is sleeping alone. Choi wakes him up and asks, "Do you even realize what time it is?" He looks around and notices that Hee-ju isn't there. Choi informs him that she has already left. We then see Hee-ju arriving at her company. She is met by Hae-jung, who asks her, "Why haven't you changed your outfit?" Hee-ju replies that the public needs to know that she was with him last night. In the next scene, we see Sang-won arriving to visit Lee-en. He offers him some food and asks, "Are you having nightmares about the late king again?" Lee-en answers, "Yes." Sang-won then recalls a scene from the past, where he was with the late king, Lee-won. Lee-won says, "I'm scared." Sang-won replies, "Don't worry, I'm right here with you." Just then, Lee-en rushes in, shouting. Sang-won warns him, "Don't say a word, or you will be punished for this." However, Lee-en ignores him. He grabs his brother by the collar and says, "I gave you a chance, but you didn't listen to me. From now on, whatever happens, you will have to handle it yourself." Back in the present, Sang-won tells Lee-won's son, "Don't worry, I will always be by your side." Lee-won is busy working. He looks at a photograph of himself and his brother. Meanwhile, we see Hee-ju at her company. She reads through hate comments directed at her comments concerning her pregnancy and various other topics. However, Hee-ju simply mocks the comments and laughs. Hae-jung, who is nearby, tells her not to do that, but Hee-ju pays her no mind. Just then, we see that Jong-woo has arrived. Outside, employees are seen chatting about Jong-woo, remarking on how handsome he is. We are seeing this face to face for the very first time. Ae-jung quiets them down. Inside, Hee-ju speaks with Jong-woo and asks, "What are you doing here?" Jong-woo asks in return, "Do you truly wish to marry Lee-won?" Hee-ju answers with a firm, "Yes," adding, "I want to be with him forever. And you must remain as Prime Minister, for you are the only one who can grant permission for our wedding." Meanwhile, Choi approaches Lee-won. He informs him of what has happened with A-room. She has suddenly fallen ill. "I suspect this must be a ploy," he says, "because if she is incapacitated, no official announcement regarding your wedding can be made." Shortly thereafter, Hee-ju calls him and asks, "What is all this? I saw on the news that A-room has fallen ill." Lee-won replies, "It is all a scheme." But just then, our attention shifts to what is happening behind Hee-ju. A group of young women is present, and they begin hurling eggs at her, shouting, "You cannot be with Lee-won. You have seduced him." Lee-won, still on the phone, hears every word of the commotion. Hee-ju abruptly hangs up. Meanwhile, Choi brings a stack of files to Lee-won, explaining, "These are the duties of the king and now, A-room's duties as well. You will have to handle all of them." Elsewhere, we see Hee-ju, who is reprimanding the young women and attempting to reason with them. The women eventually promise, "We won't do anything like this again." In the next scene, we see Jong-woo inside a church. Jong-woo had previously mentioned, "I won't be able to visit here for a few days, as a friend of mine is getting married." The priest replies, "Well, that is wonderful news. Have you come here to offer a prayer for his wedding?" However, Jong-woo shakes his head and says, "I'm not sure if I came to pray for him. I have committed a sin, and I was praying for myself. I don't think I will be able to offer them my congratulations." Later, Jong-woo finds himself reflecting on the past. Jong-woo was on his way to class when he noticed Hee-ju up ahead, searching for something. The teacher was also approaching from the same direction. However, Jong-woo quickly told Hee-ju that the principal wanted to speak with her. Consequently, she did not go to class. Hee-ju eventually found the item she was looking for and walked away. Jong-woo watched her leave and smiled. Hee-ju arrived home, only to find her father, Young-gu, waiting for her. Hee-ju wanted to tell him about the candle incident, but Young-gu cut her off, saying, "Forget it, I already know. You did it just to get attention." He added, "Your mother's death anniversary is coming up soon. You must surely be aware of that." The scene then shifted to a flashback. The family's housekeeper brought a young Hee-ju inside the house. Standing before her were her father, along with Tae-ju's mother and Tae-ju himself. The housekeeper explained that the girl had been standing outside the house for hours, adding, "We don't even know who she is." Young-gu demanded, "Why did you bring her in here? You should have taken her to the police." They asked the girl, "What is your name?" After a long silence, Hee-ju finally answered. She also revealed her mother's name and declared, "The man standing right here is my father." Upon hearing this, Tae-ju's mother fainted and subsequently passed away. Back in the present, Young-gu continued his rebuke, "Look at what you did. Look at how greedy you became." We then see a montage of past scenes. Hee-ju bringing her report card to her father and boasting about her academic performance, demanding a bicycle just like Tae-ju's only bigger, returning with another report card and insisting, "You gave Tae-ju a building, I want a building that is even bigger than his," and finally, presenting yet another report card and declaring, "You must change your will so that it favors me." In the present, Hyeon-ji shouts, "You got exactly what you wanted, but I won't let anything like this happen again. Stay away from the company." Hee-ju shouts back, "I know exactly why you're doing this. It's because you want to hand the company over to Tae-ju. To you, Tae-ju is everything, while I am nothing. But no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to defeat me. There was someone just like you who tried to take me down before, but it was all in vain. Go ahead, give it a try yourself. Later, while she is in her room, Lian calls her. He asks, are you okay? She gets a little emotional and replies, I'm busy right now. I'll talk to you later. Hee-ju then begins to recall a past scene, remembering how she had asked for a bicycle, requested that a building be purchased, and asked for a change in the company's logo. Just then, someone rings the doorbell outside. She asks, who is it? Receiving no response, Hee-ju grabs a baseball bat and opens the door. Standing right there is Lian. She asks him, what are you doing here? And what about Choi? Did you come alone? He replies, he came inside a little while ago. She notices that he is holding a sandwich in his hand. She asks him, did you buy that yourself? He then recalls the scene at the shop, the very same shop where Hee-ju had previously bought a sandwich, and where he had decided to buy one as well. Back in the present, Hee-ju eats the sandwich and asks him, what exactly did you come here to do? Lian replies, we spoke on the phone earlier, and you sounded nervous. Is everything okay? Hee-ju admits, I was nervous. Your fans threw eggs at me, and my father rejected me. All of that left me feeling a bit shaken. But I'm fine now. Lian asks her, did people really throw eggs at you? It turns out Hee-ju was hurt. She keeps watching her intently. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Aram is examining a photograph of Hee-ju, specifically the one taken when Hee-ju had come to hang out because she couldn't get any network coverage on her phone. She places a call to someone and states that this matter requires investigation. Elsewhere, we see Lian, who has brought Hee-ju to his private residence. His employees are standing before them. Hee-ju asks, did you do what I asked you to do? Is the room ready? Hee-ju then moves closer to Lian to ensure it appears to the others that they are in love. Lian tells her, you shouldn't get any closer. A moment later, however, Hee-ju leans in even closer to his face. Butler Young Moon escorts Hee-ju into her room. He introduces himself, explaining who he is and how she should address him, before asking, and what should I call you? After he leaves, Hee-ju calls Lian. He asks, aren't you asleep yet? Lian replies, I'm working. Hee-ju says, I want to help you. Aram attempts to eavesdrop on their conversation but is prevented from doing so by a cat. In the next scene, Hee-ju is with Lian. Lian is busy with his work, but Hee-ju keeps bombarding him with questions. Hee-ju asks, am I really going to live here forever? But this place is so far away from my workplace. What am I supposed to do now? I feel so unsettled. Lian responds, you said you were coming here to help me. But just look at what you're actually doing. Hee-ju looks at a book and remarks, this contains information about Rachel. I don't understand how all of this works here. Lian says, alright, what is it that you want to ask? Hee-ju asks, tell me, why do you want to marry me? Lian replies, because you have money, and you're pretty. Hee-ju says, okay, at least you admitted that much. He offers a third reason. Once he ascends the throne, people will turn against him and insult him, but she, unlike the others, would not do such a thing. She would understand him. Upon hearing this, she simply continues to gaze at him. Irene cancels all her scheduled engagements and begins formulating a new plan. In the next scene, we see several men dressed in suits approaching Hee-ju and beginning to confiscate her belongings. Hee-ju happens to be at Lian's private residence at the time. The men attempt to stop her, but they are powerless to do so. Hee-ju demands to know why they are arresting her and asks if they possess a warrant. However, the men simply reply that they do not require one. One of them produces a photograph taken at the very event where Hee-ju had gone to network and states, you were present in a restricted area at this specific time, and we suspect that you were the one who started the fire there. Meanwhile, at Hee-ju's company, other men are simultaneously confiscating her assets. Hee-ju attempts to call Lian, but Young Moon tells her it is futile. Lian is currently performing a ritual, and no one is permitted to carry a phone during the ceremony. She then tries calling Young, hoping she can go to Lian and explain the entire situation. However, Young Moon informs her that this, too, is pointless, as absolutely no one is allowed to enter the premises. Nevertheless, in the following scene, we see Hee-ju compose herself. She approaches the men and calmly says, very well, I will go with you. Elsewhere, we see Young attempting to reason with the soldiers guarding the entrance. She pleads, let me inside. I need to speak with Lian. But her efforts are in vain. Just then, Youngmoon arrives on a scooter, carrying a specific legal artifact belonging to Lien, a small plate-like object. Upon seeing this artifact, the soldiers grant him permission to enter. It turns out that this very plate is the item currently in Heeju's possession. Youngmoon enters only to find that the ritual has already begun, and Lien is fully immersed in the ceremony. However, Choi happens to be nearby. Aejung changes her clothes, approaches Choi, and explains exactly what has transpired. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to Heeju, who has been brought inside the palace. Just then, Lien arrives and intercepts them. He confronts the guards, demanding to know what is going on. You didn't obtain permission from either the king or me. How did you manage to bring her in here? At that moment, Irene steps forward and declares, I was the one who granted permission. We suspect that she is the one who started the fire over there. Lien challenges her, asking, what evidence do you have? Irene retorts, on the day of the event, she showed up wearing a red dress. She openly mocked the king. While everyone else was inside having drinks, she smashed her glass and intimidated the other girls. Furthermore, how did she even manage to get into a restricted area? I should simply make these facts public knowledge. Once I do, both she and her company will be completely disgraced. Heeju attempts to step forward to confront Irene, indignant at the way she is badmouthing her company, but Lien restrains her. Lien then recalls a specific memory. On the day of the event, he, too, had been right there alongside Heeju. He turns to Irene and asserts, if she is to be investigated, then I must be investigated as well, for we were both present at the scene. Choi and Aejung exchange glances, silently hatching a plan. Aejung delivers a swift kick to Heeju, causing her to collapse to the ground. Instantly, Lien sweeps her up into his arms. Heeju feigns unconsciousness. Later, Lien carries Heeju into a room and gently lays her down on the bed. He taps her on the forehead with his finger. She promptly sits up. Lien asks her, why did you come here? Heeju replies, those men dragged me here against my will. What else could I have done? By the way, am I going to have to go to jail? Lien asks, are you scared? But she refuses and says, why should I be afraid? I am Heeju. Things like this have happened to me many times before. I usually view them merely as isolated incidents. However, I am now considering hiring a law firm to handle this matter. After all, you did take my side back there. But Lien insists, I didn't do anything of the sort, I was simply stating the truth. Heeju replies, I don't know. She adds, but just think about it yourself, consider how many people were present there. The more mouths there are, the more gossip will spread. In the next scene, we see that rumors gradually begin to circulate throughout the palace. People are asking one another, do those two truly love each other? Iron, too, snaps at a court lady, demanding, you tell me, what do you think? Did they actually like one another? Heeju decides she wants to visit the private residence. The car arrives, and Lien personally opens the door for her. Everyone watching is left utterly shocked by this display. Heeju asks, what is all this? Lien replies, I'm simply trying to make them believe even more firmly that we are close. Heeju says, in that case, very well, and then departs. In the following scene, Heeju calls Lien late at night and asks, are you asleep? He replies in the negative, stating, I'm currently working. Lien then asks, have you eaten? She answers that she hasn't. He asks, did you not like the food? Heeju replies, it's nothing like that. I'm just trying to lose some weight so that I look more like a victim. Lien informs her, starting tomorrow, you will have a royal guard assigned to you. Heeju asks, how is that possible? We aren't married yet, are we? She adds, I'm actually on my way to see you right now. In the next scene, she starts her car and drives up to the palace grounds. Lien climbs up the wall and looks down at her. Heeju places a small stool against the wall and climbs up to join him. She hands him some tea along with several other supplements and remarks that whenever she struggles to sleep, she uses them. She suggests that he should do exactly the same. We can at least put on a show, she adds, so that people think we're madly in love. She then muses, I think I'd make a good wife. He gazes at her intently, then reaches out to gently touch her face. What are you doing? Heeju asks. Just stay right there. Lien replies. He steps closer to her and kisses her. The episode ends there. We'll catch up again in episode 4. Until then, bye.